Hello, my name is Gabriel Meissner, and you are watching rptv News. The agenda for this meeting was as follows: an update from Walid on the EED elections, a discussion led by Gail, Inez, and Ismail on the ongoing project reporting structure, a new standing item with Michael on updates/report backs on meetings, a discussion and overview with Walid over a meeting for SDP stakeholders, a discussion with Denise about meeting with CSI over SDP-related funds and balances, a decision led by Walid on a proposal to resume weekly meetings after September 21st, and lastly, a discussion with Walid to reconvene the terms of reference for the SDP. Due to lack of attendance, the agenda was not discussed in the meeting, and instead what ensued was a debate over the necessity for quorum. Quorum is defined as the minimum number of members that must be present in order for voting to occur in a meeting.
So the agenda is as follows. We're going to be doing some quick announcements related to EED, community building, and then we're going to have a discussion related to ongoing project reporting structure. So Gail would like to put that forward. I think Ines and Ishmael are going to be supporting that. And then we're going to have a new standing item, which is updates or report back on meetings by Michael. Then we're going to have a discussion on the upcoming SDP stakeholders table. And then we'll also have a quick discussion with regards to a meeting that we'll have with Denise and our friends at CSI to discuss some SDP related funds and balances. And then we'll talk about resuming our weekly meetings after September 21st. And we'll also have a discussion about reconvening our terms of reference committee to approve the terms of reference.
Well, my question
Denise,
is quorum, and will there be quorum throughout this meeting? Because already I've been told one person is leaving early.
So yeah, just to respond to Gail, we don't have quorum in our terms of reference, but we do have representation from various working groups. And like I said earlier, Marshida is going to be joining, who's the new co-chair of the communications working group. Most of the co-chairs are either on vacation or at an event that's happening right now.
Yeah, then we can't have the meeting. We shouldn't have the meeting then, because again, we're trying to go ahead and do things without a majority of resident voices. We already struggle with
so how about if you don't feel like we should have the meeting, why don't we decide right now?
First, about me feeling if we don't have quorum, we should not have the meeting.
There's no quorum, Gail.
Then we should not have the meeting. I mean,
we definitely at some point have defined quorum. Sorry, I don't mean to pop in, but there should be quorum. We have defined quorum in the past.
Yeah, in our current terms of reference, there's no quorum. We are trying to get the new terms of reference approved, where we had discussions related to that. Okay.
That's not true.
Gail, if it's not true, do you mind sharing the screen and showing us the quorum requirements for planning committee?
We've gone through this scenario before where we did not have quorum. We used the terms of reference that we had because we don't have, we can only go with the terms of reference that has been approved, not one that we're working on that has not been approved. And we've done with that before. So telling me to pull it up is nonsense. We have an admin, and if you like, he can pull that up.
Yeah. Do you want to pull the Ishmael?
Rules.
Let's pull out the terms of reference for quorum
against the rules.
Yeah, let's.
But there is no quorum.
Yes, yeah, I know, Michael, I know that, but let's pull out the terms of reference because Gail feels very strongly about this. I did communicate to everyone who's part of the planning committee that we have representation from 3 of the working groups, communications, community building, and EED. I did say that this is not unusual. During our summer meetings, we actually have a lower participation rate than the regular year, like in the fall. And I'm just encouraging folks to continue this meeting, but we do have a member of the planning committee, a former co-chair of EED, who is basically asking for us to look at the terms of reference. So I want us to do that first before we make any determination. And then we have Denise going next. So Ishmael, if you don't mind, stop sharing the screen and just putting up the most recent version of the terms of reference. Welcome, Greg.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good, my friend.
Sorry to interrupt, but I was unable to find the terms of reference specific to the planning committee. I see the one for the stakeholders table. Is that the one you
It's
that I
the
could pull
same
up?
thing.
Okay. I'll just look for the latest version of that, and I'll share that. It looks like the last approved version was 2020.
Michael, do you have something to say?
Well, I think that 2021 was approved, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I don't think anything related to quorum was changed between those two versions.
No. There was
Oh, there might have been some change, but yeah. Most of us remember that it was quorum for the stakeholders table, but not for the planning.
nothing for the planning committee. Yeah, that's what I recall too. And I have a copy in front of me. So I'm just going to invite Gail to reference the quorum that we must follow for the planning committee. That's in their terms of reference.
I must say this one more time. If we believe that having a small amount of people at this table is the way to go, then rock on out. That's what I'm saying. I'm probably going to be off the call. And I think Ida says she's leaving at 6. And so if we feel that's the way to go, then do that. I'm not, as a market resident, go ahead and do as you, Waleed, see fit, right? This is not an argument. This is simply, I know based on being here before you and being here in the past that people are annoyed when a small group are here discussing and trying to make decisions. That's what I know. But if you'd like the confusion in this community to continue, then do that. That's all I'm saying. I'm good.
Okay, thanks for your remarks.
If there's
I'm
no
not,
quorum,
I'm not,
then we
sorry.
can still cancel the meeting.
Sorry, Michael. Sorry, Michael. I'm not making a decision. I'm asking the group to make a decision. This is a decision of the group. So we're gonna hear everyone out and we're gonna make a call. I see Ines hand up, so we'll go to Ines next. And if anyone else wants to speak to this, they can speak to it.
So
Ines, go ahead.
I agree with Gail. What she said, there has been where the meeting has been canceled because there's not enough people in the meeting. Yeah, you're saying there is TCC tenants, and there's only Gail as a private owner, private resident, and there's Greg as an agency and Michael, so and it has been canceled. So I agree with Gail.
Okay, anyone else wants to speak to
hello?
this? Go ahead, Michael.
I think we certainly could cancel the meeting. That would make it 4 weeks between meetings. What I would prefer to do is just get some of the reports done because they contain information that I might not have heard before, and then not make any decisions today.
Yeah. So I agree with Michael. I don't think we need to make decisions at this meeting if folks feel uncomfortable with the level of participation. But I just want to remind everyone that we don't have quorum. We do have 9 folks. Welcome, Sarah Jane.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Late.
No worries, Sarah Jane. Yeah, so Sarah Jane, just to keep you up to speed, we just started our meeting. We did the land acknowledgement. We did the purpose, and there were some concerns by some members of planning committee about this meeting continuing. There was confusion related to quorum. We just went through the terms of reference. There's no quorum for the planning committee, but I just want to let folks know that we have 3 working groups represented. So co-chairs from community building, EED, as well as I think communications, but Marshida was going to join us shortly. She's not joined us as of yet. So we also have some agency representatives. We've got Greg, we've got Michael. Denise also wanted to, there's an item related to CSI that's on the agenda related to a meeting that we hope to discuss quickly. What I recommended to the group is that we do have this meeting, but we don't make decisions. We postpone it to a future planning committee so that everyone's comfortable with the decisions being made. But for now, take the information. Michael also made that recommendation. we heard from both Gail and Ines that they would like for the meeting to be postponed, or basically because we don't have enough people. So that's the conversation we're having right now. So if you want to get on the speakers list to share your perspective, you're more than welcome to. And what we'll do is we'll make this decision as a group, whether we should continue with this meeting or we should postpone it.
You want me to speak now?
It's up to you. If you want to, you can. If not, you can hear from others.
I think that we should continue, but not make any decisions. It is Friday of the long weekend, so that's the breaks.
Sounds good. So I'd like to hear from every other member of Planning Committee. Ibrahim, if you could speak, that would be great. Greg, it'd be great to get your feedback. Michael, I think we've heard from you. Miguel, whoever hasn't spoken.
Waleed, is it okay if I go ahead?
Go ahead, my friend.
Yeah, so I was just thinking, and if anyone else on the call remembers, we did cancel a meeting recently because we didn't have enough people in the room. We thought it was too small of a group to move forward. I'm not suggesting we cancel this meeting. I'm just saying that we had done that recently. Inez, you remember it? Yeah, and so
Yes, I do.
yeah, so we did. And I think it was because we just didn't feel like there was enough people in the room, and then that's a decision we made. But again, I'm not saying what you should do today, Waleed. I just wanted to give you, there was some recent.
And this is why I raised this, because I know this has happened in the past. And then, so I know we've had where we've canceled because we didn't have enough. And then we've gone ahead when we didn't have enough, and then people were upset. So that's why I raised this. So there's an opportunity to hear as well, whether you move ahead or not, to come back to this item, to have this as is something that you discuss, and maybe whether it's a gap in the terms of reference or a specific rule that you want to put in place, because who can make the decision? I mean, the facilitator cannot make this decision. So who makes the decision whether a meeting goes ahead or not? If I am in the room as I am not a co-chair, so thank you for letting me know I'm an ex-co-chair. I'm well aware. So if I am not a co-chair and I'm here and the EED co-chair is not here, should that go ahead? Should the communications go ahead when no one is here and you have a new communications person who says, I'm still waiting to be oriented, right? So what are the conditions that should allow you to go ahead with a planning meeting? Because at a planning meeting, you discuss and you also make decisions. If we'd like to be transparent, if we'd like to be fair, then we have to have a set of rules in place.
We do have a set of rules in place that call the terms of reference, and I want to invite Gail to join the terms of reference working group to make those suggestions. But I just want to make sure that we make a decision. Should we proceed or not? And the proposal that we are deciding is we should proceed with this meeting, but not make decisions. So there's items on the agenda that are related to announcements. So we can maybe entertain those pieces. Or should we proceed and make decisions I've heard from two people, two members of the planning committee that don't feel comfortable making decisions. I want to make sure that they, for clarity, and maybe Ines can speak to this, do you have a concern of us continuing to have this meeting, but not making decisions? Ines?
No, I was just gonna say, it's so frustrating. It's because Waleed, you said, well, we have 3 co-chairs here. We got to remind ourselves that co-chairs in SDP don't make decisions. Everyone makes decision. It's not just the co-chairs. So let's put that. Co-chairs are here. Whoever is the co-chair is to facilitate, not to make decision or say what goes and what doesn't go. Let's put that very clear, because some people have an exception that, oh, okay, I'm the co-chair, but I make decisions. No, that's not how it goes. And I understand what Gail's saying. It has happened. Greg brought it up. It has happened where there's not many people. Where it's already 5:38. I gotta leave at 6 p.m. and we're dealing with this already, like what, for 20 minutes, and we haven't accomplished nothing. And another thing is, If somebody comes in, Waleed, please don't ask him how was their what was the best part in the summer. Let's continue with the meeting because it's an interruption for how it should be in the agenda as a conversation that needs to be done. If I have to leave at 6, how am I going to be listening to what? Because we're being in the same thing and it hasn't gone nowhere.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks for sharing your thoughts, Ines. So we have a decision to make whether to move on or not. I don't think we have consensus. Maybe we'll do a straw poll. So let's just go quickly around to indicate whether we should proceed or not. Okay, so I'll go with Sarah Jane.
I think we should proceed and not make decisions. We have announcements. People can pass them on. And then we have to, we're missing alternate planning committee dates too. So that's something else to consider, but I think we should talk and not decide. It'll be a good lesson for us.
Okay, Michael.
Yeah, I want to hear the reports. I guess we really shouldn't make decisions, but I do agree with Inez that it has nothing to do with who's a co-chair or not when it comes to quorum or decisions or anything like that. I don't really think we should have a fixed quorum because you can have smaller number of people there just for reporting and stuff like that, and more people are needed for decisions. So I think it has to be flexible, and I don't think we would have any trouble making that decision on a case-by-case basis because we seem to be able to. So I think putting a fixed quorum on it will probably make things more difficult because we really can't predict it that well.
We'll move on to Gail. I think we've heard from Gail, but Gail, if you want to go ahead.
I think we've heard from you too. So the answer for me is absolutely no. And for the reasons that I indicated, I don't need to join the terms of reference group to have a suggestion. The reason this meeting is recorded and minutes are being taken so that those can be carried to the subgroups that are working on that. I don't need to be in every table. I trust the members of this community that if I say something, that at least is taken into consideration, right? That is part of the information that they're using to help them make a decision.
Okay, Ibrahim.
I know a lot of people have committed to other plans and we don't have enough people as we used to. But I feel like planning table, we need to really come back to shape. We used to be strong. We used to have a lot of attendance, and right now I feel like we are dropping out. There's many commitments happening in the summer. People are busy with their 9 to 5 or whatever time that they have to work. But I think planning table, we cannot continue like this. If we continue like this, then we will fall apart. Right now, we have items on the agenda for information and for decision. The folks who are not able to join us, they are not able to join us. At least let's hear the information out. And as Gail said, minutes and recording, the rest of the people can hear the information and we save items for decision later. And hopefully next item conversation can be what is the quorum for planning table? If there is none, what concessions can we make for minimum decision making? So these are things that we can look forward to, but I hope we can come back to the strong planning table for our community. Thank you.
Perfect. Ines?
I've already expressed, I think the meeting should be canceled. Not enough people here, so that's my opinion.
Greg?
Yeah, I mean, the last time that we were in this position, I agreed with the group that the meeting should be canceled and we should have a larger group. I don't know what the agenda was. I'm not in that same capacity. I'm not here as a co-chair for the executive directors network. So as far as the actual decision, I'm not gonna vote on the final decision.
Anyone else who wants to speak to this?
I would like to speak again.
Go ahead, Ibrahim.
Okay, let's cancel this meeting, but we need to take ownership in our own planning table. We need to take ownership on when it comes to planning. And if we are going to cancel this meeting, that means we're gonna meet another 2 weeks, and that
Yeah.
would mean then we need to call. So I'm gonna reach out to you, Walid and Greg, and see if we can really work on the planning table's attendance and get some commitment for people to show up, because there's so much work left, and we need to have a strong community. I see a lot of fellow residents who are saying let's cancel, so let's cancel it. But that doesn't mean we can communicate with each other and get doing some work that needs to get done.
Okay, so I feel like we have 3 residents that don't want it to move forward. Ibrahim, I think you changed your position, right? From moving forward to it being canceled for now. Just correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, let's cancel and get planning back in order.
Okay, so we don't have a majority of residents because that's 3-3, or 3-2 that want to keep the meeting going. So I'm gonna declare that we are meeting adjourned, and that we meet again in 2 weeks. And for those that want to encourage other members to join planning committee, please do so. And I just want to communicate that it's unfortunate important information wasn't shared at this meeting, but I'll work with Ishmael to make sure emails are sent out so that everyone gets that information before our next planning committee. And yeah, but just very disappointed as a facilitator, but I will do my part to respect the decision made by planning committee. Thank you.
There's some hands up.
I think our meeting's adjourned, but yeah, go ahead, whoever wants to speak.
Gail,
Yeah, no, I think maybe finding, I think I would hope that in the minutes that we maybe have a very clear what is our next step, right? To solve for this specific item. We know it's, we're saying that there's nothing in the terms of reference that is specific to this. I've given 3 different scenarios, the what ifs, and therefore we should find solutions and layer across those and see what would be the best way to proceed. If we are interested in being cohesive and what is Ibrahim said, being strong, then we should be willing to do those things. Whenever we talk about putting rules and processes in place, we always get pushback. We don't need any rules. Well, look at where we are, right? People don't want to be here because who wants to waste their time weekly for 3 hours? Hence why there was a strong vote towards bi-weekly. We knew the challenges bi-weekly would bring, because if you don't have quorum, or if you don't feel, people don't feel comfortable with the amount of people being here, now they will want to push it to the next time there needs to be a meeting. Right? That's the beauty, though, of putting something in place as a pilot to see how it works for you, learning from that, and then coming up with a more concrete plan. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but if we can learn from history, and we can learn from our own skills and come up with a decision that works best across the board.
We got Denise next. Michael, I hear you. Denise?
Absolutely. Thank you. I will not weigh on this, but I do know that what you were hoping for from me was a report back on some of the financial pieces. The challenge is that I'm actually away the next 2 Thursdays that you have planning committee are the Thursdays that I'm actually out of town with no access to technology in both cases. And so I think that maybe the best thing for me to do, and we had a little bit of a sort of email thread going around that we do actually need to plan for a meeting. I'm happy to meet with the leadership team, and maybe what I'll do is I'll put together an email that goes out to the planning committee, Ishmael, that maybe you could send out, that essentially gives the balances and just explains what we're hoping to do and invites people to come. I think maybe the best idea is that as a leadership group, we decide on a date that works in the next couple of weeks, and we can invite folks from the other, we can invite one person's representation from each of the working groups to come and join us. But we can do that put that invitation out over email, or Michael, for you, somebody can call you and tell you about it, rather than waiting a month before I can come back to you and give you that update and then start to plan for what we're doing with the money. Because I suspect, I haven't heard from the city, but I suspect that the city is going to want to move fairly quickly on it once we get a chance to meet. And so I just, recognizing that this was an opportunity to speak to everybody sort of live, let me just do it electronically, and then you get the information and we can still move forward with planning. Cool. Any objections to that?
Denise, let's just hear from Michael. Go ahead.
Well, there is no leadership team, so I'm perfectly happy to have this be scheduled to an in-between meeting, and whatever time is most convenient for people, but the invitation should be the usual people.
Okay. I just wanted to...
Walid?
Yeah, go ahead.
That is for sure, Denise. If it's possible to get a balance sheet of all of the critical balances you require from each of the project, I think that will best. I know you can't wait for the next planning table, but if we know what the outstanding balance and what the outstanding each project is, then each table can meet with their project leads and community tables that they need to handle some of these decisions.
Yeah, so the email that has gone out went out to, I can't remember who was on that list, but I believe it was Walid and Inez and Leah and I can't remember who else. Ibrahim, are you now one of the co-chairs? Is that what's happening?
Yeah,
of the stakeholders table?
Invite for what?
I am taking on leadership on EED, but
Okay.
on the topic you're talking about.
Yeah,
did an invite go out for something?
No, there was no invite that went out. I shared the balances back, and the intention is to have a small ad hoc working group. That it's not that the working groups will come back to us. It's that there needs to be some planning around these sort of larger balances that are left over. And so anyways, I will draft an email.
So just make sure the whole planning committee gets invited to that. Because we don't have
so the whole planning committee
for anybody else.
The whole planning committee it's right. Thank you. That will go out to the whole planning committee, but it's the ad hoc working group will not be open to the entire planning committee.
No, that's what I'm saying. Okay. I want that to be the whole planning committee.
Okay, so it can't be. It needs to move much quicker than that. And so again, I will draft an email and send it out, and we will go from there. Thank you so much.
Well,
you guys all have a great night.
That.
Take care, everybody.
She's just telling us we're not entitled to go to a meeting that she wants to hold, and I don't agree with that. I think we're all going to go to that meeting.
Okay, Michael, I think you made your point. We were going to have an agenda, I guess, go through the agenda and discuss that, but that's not going to happen. So I'm just going to adjourn our meeting. Just giving, I think Miguel just joined us. So Miguel, there was a concern raised related to quorum. We looked at the terms of reference. There is no quorum for planning committee. We wanted to limit the meeting to just announcements, but folks felt strongly opposed to that. 3 residents actually wanted the meeting canceled, and about 3 residents wanted the meeting to continue. So I think, or 2 residents actually wanted the meeting to continue. So the decision has been made for us to adjourn and to reconvene in 2 weeks. And unfortunately, all the items that are very important and critical will have to be postponed. So I'll be working closely with the other co-chairs and other members of planning committee to encourage participation. But I just, like I said earlier, was disappointed that we were not able to share the announcements. Thank you.
And we need to make sure that Denise is not permitted to hold a meeting of people of her choosing.
Don't worry, Michael. Once that information comes up, if I don't see others in the planning table, I will include them.
Yeah. There's no secretive stuff. This information will be shared with everyone.
Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And please follow our social media platforms. And for more information, please visit our website.